How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid, which ended up being down 6.32% on the day. We saw a lot of selling pressure inside of the market. So we'll talk about it in this video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $19.55, being down 6.32%. On the low, it tested $19.47, and then on the high, testing $21.87. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 23.822 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 19.464 million shares. So we did have above average volume on the day, but you can see we dealt with a good amount of selling pressure. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 34.56. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 100-day, the 200-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. And it's clear to see that Lucid is in a bear market, trading below all of our major moving averages. And we had a strong sell-off today inside of the market, and we ended up seeing a low of $19.47. So if this sell-off continues going into Friday, I want to see if we can actually pull back and find some support here right at $18.80. If this level does decide to ever end up breaking, then we could possibly get down here to around $17.86. So again, add that to your homework. Those are those potential pullback levels. Now, if we decide to consolidate, or maybe we have some sort of a relief rally, I want to see Lucid get back to at least holding down $20. Of course, the area that we want to see it get to, though, is holding up right at $22.50. We know this is a strong area of resistance, but if we have buyers coming in and it can push this stock up further, then we can see it possibly getting to the 50-day. I do not see that happening in the near future. I want to make sure I'm being straight up about that, but you just want to make sure if you are a bull and you're looking for some upside in this play in the near term, it needs to get back to $22.50. But aside from that, like I've said in the previous videos, it looks like Lucid is going to be trading in a zone between $19 and as well as a high of $22 because that's where we have our resistance. So now let's go on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So taking a look at the recent filings for April the 21st, we have Ergotelis LLC closed out their position. And we also have Blue Bell Private Wealth Management that purchased 544 shares. And we also have Zurcher Canal Bank that ended up closing out their position as well. And as far as for the ones previously, I don't think we went over, but we'll go over it again. We have Selective Wealth Management Inc. that purchased 1,242 shares. And as far as recent changes, we can see institutions reducing their positions. So we have Goku that ended up having a value change of negative 46.94%. And we also have CWM reducing their position by 4.24%. And as well as American Research and Management Company reducing their position by just over 27%. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 57.26%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 2.95 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 250,000, updated 20 minutes ago, and then for the short ball fee rate, it is at 2.86%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 19th, it was at 53.64, and then for the close of the 20th, being at 57.26. So we do see a significant increase right there, and it's clear to see that Lucid does continue to have short squeeze potential, especially with the short interest percentage of the float being at 18.70%. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution.
Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see on the inflow, it's at 87.41 million, and then on the outflow, it's at 80.77 million. So we ended up having another inflow day. Keep in mind, these numbers are in the millions when I go over them. On the large, it is 10.76. On the medium, it is 46.23. And then on the small, it is 30.42. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 1.51. On the medium, it is 48.96. And then on the small, it was 30.30. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for today, April the 21st, we had a strong inflow day of 9.25 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tend to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 1.44%. So this is a consistent range for Lucid. And considering the selling pressure we had inside of the markets, it's clear that there were many that were loading up on that dip. So now let's get into the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, we had a nice strong spike at the beginning of the day. And of course, this is in sympathy with Tesla, knowing that they crushed their earnings. We also spoke about that in the previous video. And then having the strong sell-off inside of the market was when Jerome Powell was speaking, saying that, you know what, as far as for interest rate hikes, we are going to be looking at 50 basis points. And if he has to go higher, that might be something that he would consider. So of course, this did shake the markets up a lot. And that's part of the reasons why we had Lucid falling the way it did and actually closing below $20. So now, if you are a long-term investor, we can see clearly when taking a look at the order flow, retail has been loading up. And we also do see that the whales have been loading up as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Friday plays out, and as well as going into next week. But I myself personally, I do see some sort of a relief rally that's going to be coming. If it doesn't come on the Friday, then we will see it next week. And as far as for the price action to the downside, if it ends up breaking through $19.47, and then we can get a possible test going to around $18.73. So I would definitely keep an eye on those levels if it continues to pull back. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we do see some activity that is happening. We've seen that many institutions have been reducing their positions, but there has been some buying that has been going on. And then taking a look at the short interest information, Lucid does continue to have short squeeze potential. So that's why as soon as we have some more buying pressure coming into the stock, it can make a move to the upside. It does have some strength. There is demand inside of the market. But considering that we are seeing tech getting beaten down, we have to understand the fact Lucid being a growth stock, not having a consistent profitability proven as of yet, it's going to be experiencing big time haircuts when it comes to the stock price. But again, if you're a long-term investor and you believe in the long-term prospects, you should be seeing this as an opportunity. You shouldn't be mad. You shouldn't be frustrated. I just want to make sure I'm being clear about that, because if that's how you're feeling and you bought into this stock, then you made the wrong decision, and you want to make sure for next time that doesn't happen again. Only buy into the plays that you have high conviction in. This is very crucial. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.